You've been thinking about it for months, turning it over in your mind, analyzing it from every angle, planning it, mapping it, rehearsing it. You've thought about it so thoroughly that it almost feels like you've already done it, but you haven't, and you won't, because thinking has become your substitute for action, your way of feeling productive without producing anything, your method of staying in motion while going nowhere. You think your way through problems that only action can solve. You plan your way through challenges that only effort can overcome. You analyze your way through decisions that only commitment can make. And while you're thinking, life is moving, time is passing. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is widening. Thinking won't save you, only action will. If you're tired of being stuck in your own head while your life waits outside it, then stay with this. Subscribe now if you're serious about moving from thought to action. Because what follows will show you exactly how your thinking is keeping you trapped. Let's begin. There's a comfortable lie that intelligent people tell themselves, the lie that more thinking leads to better outcomes, that if you just analyze long enough, plan thoroughly enough, consider every variable carefully enough, eventually you'll be ready, eventually the path will be clear, eventually the risk will feel manageable, eventually you'll know enough to begin, but that moment never comes. Because thinking generates more questions, more variables, more potential problems, more reasons to wait, more evidence that you're not quite ready yet. The more you think, the more complex the problem becomes, and the more complex it becomes, the more thinking it seems to require. This is the trap, and most men live in it their entire lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you could leave life right now, and that realization should determine what you do. Not what you think, not what you plan, what you do. He understood that the contemplative life has value only when it serves action, that wisdom without application is just entertainment, that a man who thinks deeply but acts rarely is not wise, he is hiding, and that is what most men are doing, hiding inside their own heads, using the appearance of thoughtfulness to avoid the discomfort of commitment, using analysis as armor against the possibility of failure. Because if you never fully commit, if you're always still planning, still considering, still thinking, you can never truly fail. But you can never truly succeed either. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you that matters, but what you do about it. Not what you think about it, not how thoroughly you analyze it, what you do. Action is the only currency that buys real results, and no amount of thinking can substitute for it. Think about what you've been putting off, the project you've been planning for a year, the conversation you've been rehearsing for months, the commitment you've been approaching for as long as you can remember. How much more thinking does it actually need? How much more planning before it's ready? How much longer before you begin? The truth is, it doesn't need more thinking. It needs action. Imperfect, uncomfortable, uncertain action. The kind that happens before you feel ready, before you know everything, before the risk feels small enough to accept. Because readiness is a myth. You will never feel fully ready. The timing will never be perfect. The plan will never be complete. There will always be one more thing to consider, one more variable to account for, one more reason to wait just a little longer. Waiting for readiness is just waiting, and waiting is just slow quitting. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and this is exactly what overthinking creates. A suffering that exists entirely in your mind. A vivid, detailed experience of every possible failure, every potential embarrassment, every way things could go wrong. Your mind creates these scenarios with remarkable clarity, and then you treat them as if they're real. But they're not real, they're thoughts, possibilities, projections of a fearful imagination onto an uncertain future, and while you're suffering through them in your head, you're not acting, you're not building, you're not living. The man of action doesn't have a better plan. He simply has a lower tolerance for the gap between intention and execution. He understands that the thinking must eventually stop and the doing must eventually begin. That imperfect action generates real information. That moving forward, even imperfectly, teaches you more than any amount of planning could. Because here's what thinking cannot do. It cannot show you what will actually happen. It can only show you what might happen. It cannot give you experience. It can only simulate it. It cannot build anything. It can only imagine building it. Every real thing you want, the relationship, the business, the body, the life, exists on the other side of action, not the other side of better thinking. So when does the thinking stop and the action begin? Now. Not when the plan is perfect, not when the risk feels manageable, not when you finally feel ready. Now, with what you know, with what you have, with the imperfect, incomplete, uncertain starting point that's available to you right now, take the first step. Not the whole journey, just the first step. Make the call, send the message, start the work, have the conversation. Do the one thing that moves you from thinking to doing, and notice what happens. The fear that felt enormous in your head becomes manageable in reality. The problem that seemed impossible to solve begins to reveal its solutions through engagement. The path that looked unclear from a distance becomes visible as you walk it. Action creates clarity that thinking never can, because thinking happens in isolation. Action happens in reality, and reality always has more information than imagination. This channel is for men who are done living in their heads. If you're tired of planning without doing, analyzing without acting, thinking without building, then stop. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop planning for perfection. Stop thinking as a substitute for doing. Start imperfectly, incompletely, uncomfortably, but start. Because the life you're thinking about is waiting for you to stop thinking about it and start building it. Thinking won't save you. Only action will. And the time to act is not when you're ready. The time to act is now.